Hello everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Joe Speaks Out. Every night at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time on JoeExoticTV.com and now live on YouTube. You know, every year they try and pass a ban law banning exotic animals from the state of Missouri. Tonight, we're going to take a trip through one of the people that love to promote that ban. None other than Crown Ridge. Straight off their website, they love to bash circuses, Tony the Tiger truck stop, trying to stop Senate Bill 250, so that way Tony would not be able to stay home. Unfortunately, it passed the Senate, it passed the House, and now it's all I got to do is be signed by the governor. And Tony the Tiger gets to stay home. But if Crown Ridge has their way, they'll move him to another sanctuary. Why? Only to exploit him and make more money off of being able to say, we rescued Tony the Tiger. Surprise, surprise, we obtained a photo from Crown Ridge's facility. Now you've seen circus roller cages that the cats stay in while they're on tour. What's the big difference between their circus cages that the cats never get out of? You know, sanctuaries can bash private owners, zoos, and circuses all they want. But one thing in common that I'll never understand is the enrichment program of most of these sanctuaries. Can you not find anything better to put in your cages than dead Christmas trees? You know, Christmas trees are very sharp. They have very sharp points. Most inspectors won't even let you have a weed with little bitty thorns on them. So what do you think throwing an entire Christmas tree in for a cat to run his head through would do to his eyes if they were to be poked on? I can tell you exactly what would happen. It would put both eyes out, just like this tiger that's living at Crown Ridge. But hey, we have no regards to OSHA policies and procedures of employees and volunteers sticking their hands in cages and feeding the animals through the fence. But hey, it's all allowed down there at Crown Ridge. Amongst bashing other facilities and private owners, this is the only way these people can ever find any funding. And it's not just happening at Crown Ridge. It's happening at facilities and sanctuaries all around the world. The only way that they can seem to raise money is to dog another facility or private owner and try and take their rights away. Why? Because they think that they're the only ones that should be allowed to have big cats and exotic animals. Unfortunately, they're making millions off of the tragedy that happened down there at Ohio with Terry Thompson, of the animals getting out and him supposedly killing himself. You will never see a facility or a sanctuary online trying to raise money, push a ban without using Ohio as an example. So you have to ask yourself, and you have to look in the back of your mind, did Terry really kill himself? Or did these people all unite together for some big conspiracy in order to make millions off of what happened in Ohio and push ban laws to scare the politicians? Straight off of Crown Ridge's website, big cats pose a public threat. A public threat to who? Let's see one of the leading experts of how bad injuries happen at a sanctuary.
Tigers as it does with the lions.
Yeah.
Can we run through your litany of injuries?
Yeah, in 30 years I've been in the hospital probably more times than I can count, and that's not because they wanted to kill you, because obviously I would have died the first attack. It was more that they were either scared or upset or just so big that when they're playing around that they break a bone or crush it. So I've had my left arm almost completely torn off, where they had to kind of reattach the whole piece, and broken bones through it, and I've had all my shoulders torn out of the sockets and my knees all taken out of their sockets, and had to have all reconstructive surgeries on those, and been bit through the chest and collapsed lungs.
One of my all-time favorites that people use against anyone else is cub petting. How dangerous is cub petting? And does it add to conservation of wild tigers in the wild? Let's take a trip through Crown Ridge's website and pick apart just a few things that they have against cub petting. Let's start out with interesting fact number one, and the interesting lies that they tell in order to educate the public. The camera flashes and photo flashes blind the baby tigers and cause cataracts. Now, according to Wikipedia and anything else I searched online, cataracts are only caused by old age. Interesting fact number two, and storytelling number two, is that they claim that blowing in a baby tiger's face is abuse. Now we wonder, is that something that's abuse, or is that something that natural tigers do to each other in the wild and with their young in order to say, hey, I'm here in peace and I'm loving on you. Tigers are very faithful people, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter if it's an adult tiger, you will see how this lie is proposed at any zoo or sanctuary when you're seeing an adult tiger chuff and rub his face up against the cage, trying to say hi. They do that exact same thing with their trainers from the minute they're born to the minute that they weigh 700 pounds. So that, my friends, is a story tale from hell. Interesting fact in storytelling lie number 3 is trainers will dangle the babies from their arms to calm them down and to reset them for a photo. Now, the question again is this abuse or is this some kind of natural thing that a cub is used to being bounced around by mom? Oh, look, it's another mom tiger dangling its cub. Is that abuse by its own mother? And wait, we got one more for you. Now that should show you that it's a natural instinct for the cub to feel bounced around a little bit and carried by mom. So the trainers, if you really know what you're doing in this industry, know that that's how a cub is calmed down. It's not abuse, ladies and gentlemen. We're only reenacting exactly what mom would do with these cubs in the wild, such as blowing and chuffing in their face and carrying them around by the back of their arms. All right, now I'll give you a little bit of credit on a couple of these, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, just because some people are out there not doing things professional, it's no different than going to an eye doctor and not getting a correct exam. Or hey, having your appendix out and they leave the sponge in there. So do we blame all doctors for bad practices, just like zoos, circuses, and exhibitors around the world? This guy right here is absolutely being abusive to this baby lion. And I'll be the first one to agree that that's improper to let a customer hold an animal like that. But we're here to stop all of the bad publicity and putting all of the eggs in one shell and saying everybody is abusive when they're not. So think about it next time you go to the doctor. Are they all guilty of malpractice, or is it just a couple of doctors out there that give the rest of the doctors a bad name? It's no different in the animal world. The last interesting fact on their list is cub petting and photos does nothing for education of conservation. Education and hands-on petting with animals, ladies and gentlemen, by far the best educational tool you can possibly have is getting someone that would never afford to go to another country to meet an animal up close that they would never see. There is no better way to get a member of the public to care about saving the rainforest or saving the tigers unless they can become connected with one. Okay, now let's take a look at their mission statement, ladies and gentlemen, and dig out some interesting facts on their mission statement. One thing is, they don't believe in any kind of breeding unless it's a circle of the SSP. What is the SSP? It's a species survival plan. Okay, now I don't know if you're really aware of the AZA and the species survival plan, but in order to have animals in the species survival plan, they must come from the wild. So what is a species survival plan of the AZA and Crown Ridge supporting? Catching animals out of the wild. Isn't that what all of us are against? My best and favorite one is no exploitation of animals. Let's discuss exploitation of animals. Exploitation of animals would be to make money for what? Your own purpose or your own cause using animals, right? How about Crown Ridge using animals to exploit for public profit? And then again, selling tickets and tours after tours after tours. If that's not exploitation enough for you, ladies and gentlemen, between a tiger truck stop, a zoo, a traveling exhibit, or anything else, have you seen a crowd at a luxurious sanctuary smaller than that? Okay, so I'm going to close this segment on Crown Ridge and thinking that they're above anybody else in order to push bans in the state of Missouri and entirely across the United States. So no one can have animals except them and the little cliques that they're involved in. I want you to sit back and look at my last picture, ladies and gentlemen, and you be the judge. What's the difference between Felicia Frisco or anyone else traveling around the country educating people about tigers in the wild and tigers in captivity versus having crowds like this at Crown Ridge Sanctuary, where the animals are supposed to be living in peace, not being exploited, and not making money off of the animals being exhibited. You be the judge, and I'm Joe Exotic here on Joe Exotic Speaks Out, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time here on JoeExoticTV.com and now live on YouTube.